Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Red Pill Podcast 165. I hope you're all having an amazing weekend out there. It's been a roller coaster ride during this month of May, and we're right around the corner from closing up this month. So we have a lot to cover today in the charts. Got a little bit of a decode to share with you, a recap of how this last week went since these Ethereum ETF approvals, of course. And then we getting into some altcoin charts that I haven't looked at in some time and some new charts as well. So I'm really excited to get into all of that. And I have a very important update to start today's podcast. But before I get into that, make sure to get relaxed, comfortable, grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea if it's the morning time, or a glass of beer, maybe some wine, whatever you desire. But more importantly, get comfortable, get relaxed. That's key here. Take some notes. We have a lot to cover today. And if you are new to the Wolfpack, welcome. So great to have you here with us. If you haven't gotten access to our Discord server, just make sure to send me a Patreon direct message, and I will get back to you very soon with a Discord server invite. Don't comment below this post or send me an email with your Discord details. I won't be able to help you out that way. You will need to, on the Patreon platform, send me a direct message and I will be able to help you out that way. But please include your Discord username. That is the only way I'll be able to get you onboarded. And without any further ado, as mentioned a moment ago, and as some of you have heard recently, within this upcoming week, I'll be releasing my newest project, the Crypto Decoding Blueprint. And yes, you heard me right. I will be releasing this within the upcoming week. So I wanted to share some graphics and give a little bit of a sneak peek and go over what this course includes, and sharing some details regarding pricing and answering some frequently asked questions that I've received lately. So this is what will be covered in the course. These are all the course lessons. There will be a crypto etymology masterclass, the philosophy of cryptocurrency, part 1 and 2, covering the Piscean age and the Aquarian age that we are moving into, as well as decoding the blockchain and the symbolism and everything tied to that. And then moving into Satoshi Nakamoto, decoding Satoshi thoroughly, and then of course decoding Bitcoin. Then kind of cutting it up in the halfway point with decoding our crypto market cycles. I believe that's very important now more than ever, because we're about halfway through this year of 2024 and we still have a lot of bull run ahead of us by my analysis. And I think that this is a perfect place to kind of add context to everything that was going on in the Bitcoin and Satoshi decodes. Then we'll be moving into decoding Ripple, then XRP, Dogecoin, Ethereum, Solana, and then kind of wrapping up the course with a crypto symbolism masterclass. And I'll also be adding in a interactive decoding practice, as I do with the past couple courses I've come out with. I've been getting great feedback on those. People really like to go through the project and then have something that's more interactive, and it will feel effectively like I am coaching you through this whole course. And it's called Blueprint because it's a smaller, summarized version of a bigger project that I have going on, which is my decoding mastermind course, and I'll get to that in a moment. But everything I just reviewed right there will be comprised of around 300 custom-made slides across all these presentations within the Crypto Decoding Blueprint. This is an incredible amount of art that will be within this. Now I just want to show you a couple sneak peeks of how this was designed by me. Again, I created all of this on my own. I am trying to be as artistic as possible and push the boundaries on the aesthetic of what I'm sharing here with my courses. So I'm just going to run through a couple images with you guys and then get into some more details. So this is for the blockchain decoded, and then moving on to this highly requested Dogecoin decode. Really excited to get into that as well. So this Crypto Decoding Blueprint is included within my decoding mastermind course for free. So these 17 additional course lessons will be added to the Decoding Mastermind course within the next week, no later than the first week of June. So I'm hustling to get this filmed as early as tomorrow. I got to see what's up with, where I'm at with things. I can't force myself, I'm only one person. I did this 100% alone, so I'm going to do my best as always, but I'm aiming for no later than the first week of June. So it will be bringing this total course, this whole full Decoding Mastermind course, to about 38 video lessons. And within the coming months, I'll also be adding the Trinity Masterclass to this course as well. So effectively, the Decoding Mastermind course will have added to it this new Crypto Decoding Blueprint plus the Trinity Masterclass, making this total project upwards of 50 course lessons. So this is the best value I've ever offered. And the Decoding Mastermind course is a one-time payment for lifetime access, like all of my courses. So by having this course now, you will have all future course lessons added, and there will be no additional cost and no further action needed because I'll just simply add the videos automatically to your course to make the process as user-friendly as possible. I want to make it the best experience for you. And since you're all Patreon supporters, you'll get the biggest discount available for this course, 20% off. So the pricing is currently at this original price. I have not adjusted this price since I released it. So I've been keeping it at this same price since. With your Patreon discount, you'll be getting it for about $60 off. And that's the pricing as of today, as I film this video. But then 1 week after the release of this the Crypto Decoding Blueprint, 1 week after I release that, the price will be increased on this total course project of the Decoding Mastermind course. And I will be also sharing this Crypto Decoding Blueprint in a separate release, because I had some people reach out to me about that. The ones that just want those 16 to 17 videos of the Crypto Decoding Blueprint as a separate project. So I'll be selling that at an incredibly affordable price for what will be included. And as Patreon supporters, by joining this week, you'll be getting the best discount available for this project before the price increases on all of my courses in June. And you'll be locked in on the best price with lifetime access to all future course lessons that will be added to this Decoding Mastermind course over time, notably this new project that will be coming out in a week. So anyone who currently owns the Decoding Mastermind course, you'll already have about 20 videos, but then in a week, you'll just see magically, poof, there will be new videos added to it. And yeah, I'm really excited to share this project because I poured my heart and soul into making it as unique as possible, the aesthetic, everything. I really aimed to make it also as user-friendly as possible and as beginner-friendly as possible. But for even the people that are highly skilled decoders and people that are into esoterica, maybe you're into astrology or studying, deeper into the mystical arts, you're gonna walk away from this with a whole new outlook on cryptocurrency and hopefully the whole economy. Because that's how I built this thing. It's telling a story. It's going from the etymology, getting into admiralty, maritime commerce law, and then moving through into this theory of how we're transitioning through the ages where we will eventually be cashless. We will start to see everything on the stock market get tokenized, and blockchain will become the pretty much household technology. It won't be this thing that only nerds are involved with anymore, people like us. It will become normalized, as we saw with C19, what that created with the normalization of QR codes and the normalization of a lot of new tech. The introduction of artificial intelligence and the way that we're seeing it be used over the past couple of years with ChatGPT, Bard, what I believe is now called Gemini. So this is all just this transformation, and we're getting real close to the full-blown transformation, but there's a lot of nuances that I covered in this, some theoretical stuff as well, such as regulations coming for crypto. We do know that now we have 2 official ETFs, one of which with Bitcoin. And then on the other pillar, you have Ethereum as of a couple days ago. So actually, I built my Ethereum decode to have all that crucial information as well. And then it kind of just wraps up the theory on where XRP stands in it all regarding Ripple and the future of ISO 222. Essentially, I'm covering everything in this. And when I get to the crypto symbolism video, this is where I'm going to be covering all of like probably the top 10 or so altcoins that have their symbolism. And then we could apply that to all the other altcoins, which pretty much effectively have the same symbolism in some way, shape, or form. This whole idea is so that you can walk away with this blueprint, which is very short and sweet, but you could walk away from this being able to decode any cryptocurrency on your own and even utilize it for price targets. So this is not going to be super price prediction heavy. It's really just to get into symbolism, the code, and revealing to you how I come across my number connections. My exit strategy blueprint is really what's kind of teaching the methodology to get price specifically, but this is bigger than that. This is way more grandiose of a project. So I'm really proud of this one. I'm really excited to share with you guys. I believe I answered all the frequently asked questions, and now we can get into today's podcast. And also for anyone who's invested in themselves by investing in my art, got to correct myself because the language is important. But anyone who's invested in themselves and who've picked up this decoding mastermind course, it really means the world to me. I've been getting amazing feedback from you all. I'm really happy to include this new project within for you so you have the best value. And anyone who's joining it now and today or the next couple days, just want to let you know I'm really grateful for all of your support. I believe you're going to have an absolutely paradigm shifting experience with this new project. So got through some of this important update stuff. Let me just make sure that we're good on everything else. And then let's recap what just went down in our markets over the past couple days. So as you're aware, we just had on May 23rd, the recent full moon. The Ethereum spot ETFs were approved 49 days after Satoshi Nakamoto's 49th birthday. And remember, the significance of this number 49 is not just about the recent Super Bowl. It's about the concept of what 49 is through the lenses of numerology in a very deep sense, tied back to the scripture. So you have a Shemitah, or a sabbatical year, is practiced every 7 years, and 7 cycles of 7 is 49 years, and this would be like a super Shemitah. So when you reach this 49 age in life, you've gone through 7 cycles of 7 years. I hope this is making sense. Now, on the 50th year, you do something called a biblical jubilee. You practice this half century, if you will. Now, this is something that we actually just went through recently regarding the Hebrew calendar. We had a Shemitah year in 2021 into 2022. Then we practiced Jubilee from 2022 September to 2023 September. Now we're out of Jubilee, but when we're talking about specifically cryptocurrency, it starts with this mysterious mythological character called Satoshi. So Satoshi is experiencing its super Shemitah right now. And that's key. I believe it makes so much sense why we're getting the ETFs approved, and because the story of crypto starts with Bitcoin and Satoshi, it's all just making sense. And I think that we will have more blockchains I won't even get into that now, but I do think there will be within this calendar year of 2024, and potentially even before Rosh Hashanah, which is coming up on October 2nd, 3rd, 4th of this year. I believe even before then, we will see more spot ETFs approved. And for the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, to make this rule to allow ETH to have a spot ETF, and just that right there is a crazy advancement for the industry, right? Because there's and now this is where waters get spicy, There's 500,000, there's been 500,000 ERC20 tokens created. Now, I believe, let's just look up the number for fun, because it's No point of overthinking it. So now there's 14,000, excuse me, around about 14,000 altcoins. Okay. But there's been over 500,000 ERC20s made. A lot of them go to zero. Most of them are absolute shit coins. Like, look at this over here. MAGA hat. You know me. I'm not political. I'm not picking sides here. I'm not like, but what is the point of this? See, this is cute. It's funny. I love laughs. I like joking. You know me. But this is taking up space in the legitimacy of what we're trying to see unfold here. And I understand that there's opportunity here in the ROI of these nonsense projects, but then they get rug pulled and they go to zero. And then so many people complain about that, but yet they like making the money off of it. So they like playing the memes and they like playing the shit coins. But what you're failing to realize is that's taking us away from this asset class becoming sophisticated. It's a joke. Okay, most of what crypto is a absolute laughing stock, and for me, it is what it is. Like Chief Wolf, I'm not Bitcoin Maxi, I'm not a XRP Army, I'm not a whatever. I am just finding the opportunities, but I'm not gonna put myself in a position where I need to go to sleep nervous at night, wondering if the shitcoin that I put my life savings into is about to go get rug pulled while I'm sleeping. I don't want to put myself through that. I have a long-term outlook, a long-term investment thesis, and it changed my life experiencing this 2020 to 2022 bull run. And I learned a lot of lessons along the way. It was a very profitable experience for me. But furthermore, I watched so many awful things happen. And it was mostly in shit like this, like MAGA hat coin. No offense. This is not against Trump or against any of these politicians, paid actors. But, you know, I think that needs to be a part of the awareness of the wolf pack of how we're starting to see legitimate things unfold in this crypto conversation, such as the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs approved. But then we also have this stuff still going on, and it's going to continue. I mean, I remember I'm not usually too disgusted. I would just be vulnerable with you guys right now. And because this is a podcast, we can go down these other lanes and you could, you know, check the temperature accordingly. But, you know, I'm not usually offended or disgusted about things that I see, because at this level of consciousness, it's just like you kind of feel like you expect people to be a certain way. You expect the world to be a certain way. And I'm not here in judgment of it. I'm just learning how to navigate it without letting it steal all my glory or taking away my attention and distracting me. You understand? So when the Baltimore Francis Scott Key Bridge got ritualized, clearly, when it was ritualized, like real people were driving on that bridge and they did, it happened. It was a real thing, okay? And within like hours of that bridge collapse, I guess someone or maybe a small team of people made a project on the Solana blockchain called like Baltimore Bridge or something. Like it was basically, they were making a meme of this moment that happened. And like, you know, I called my mom because she drives over that bridge all the time. And I reached out to her and I was like, hey, like, I just want to know she was okay. She told me that she drove over that bridge like 8 hours before that fucking happened. And now I'm looking at this crypto market being like, look at how disgusting we are. Like that was a very close to home thing in my life. I only have maybe 5 or 10 people I keep close to me, and she was one of them. This is a lot of memery and just bullshit going on in this market, and this is going to keep being the way that it is, and I'm not upset about it. She's alive, she's fine. I'm just revealing to you how childish and how dumb a lot of what's going on in crypto still is, and why it's like I'm allergic to a lot of it, and why when I create the art that I create for you guys, I try to avoid as much of that shit as possible so that we could be wise. So that we can navigate this calmly. Maybe we're not getting these crazy 300,000% meme coin pumps, but it's like we don't have to be nervous every moment of our lives staring at a screen. We're focused on life here. We're focused on expansion of consciousness. That's what we're focused on, life. And crypto is not life. Anywho, we went down a couple different lanes there, but I'm just letting you know, as long as we still have stuff like this going on, and then we start to see the big players, these institutions, getting into this market in this legitimate fashion, I do think that this sort of stuff is on the chopping block. And we're very close to seeing, during Satoshi's 49th year, potentially into the Jubilee year, the 50th year, which is the year of the snake next year. That's when I think we're going to have some serious regulations come in, and it's going to absolutely wash out a lot of this stuff. So I have my theories, and I share a lot of this in the upcoming Crypto Decoding Blueprint, so I'll leave it at that. We'll get back to today's podcast, and just kind of wanted to share some of my thoughts on the significance of this number 49. And now that we had this landmark event of 49 days after Satoshi's 49th birthday, the approval of the Ethereum ETF, without a shadow of a doubt that this is the way to decode this particular market and asset. It's been working so incredibly well, and now we have like 5 perfect, tangible examples of it proving itself. So we need to keep this 49 code we just need to continue to prioritize it. So what I want to just quickly review is, in my last video I put out, we reviewed the timeline of the post Bitcoin ETF approval. Let me show you. And we were just kind of using this as a gauge to see what's potentially possible for Ethereum in this particular time. So over here, we pushed up about an additional 3%, almost 3% off the prior microcycle highs. And this was the day after the approval, but it was the first day of the ETF's trading. And then this followed by a dump, and we went on to correct a little over 20% for the following 2 weeks. So it ended up being like a sell the news event. And so far, checking in on the Ethereum chart, we are stable for sure. But this was the day of the approvals, and we have not seen any crazy breakout after the approval. Today is a Sunday, by the way, so the traditional markets are closed. CME will be opening later for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Precious metals will be opening up later, the Dow Jones. So because it's still a Sunday, this is all just retail traders probably playing with leverage for now. But just wanted to let you know about that. We have not effectively broken out higher so far. Now, if Ethereum was to mimic what Bitcoin did after the ETF was approved, which I am not saying it will, we're just being theoretical for a moment, but if that was to play out similarly, that would be like seeing a $3,100 ETH price over the course of the next 12 days or so. So it'd be pushing you to about here, exactly, by June 3rd or June 4th. Okay, so you could just write that down, keep that in mind. That's if we were to mimic it. It's not that I'm anticipating us to crash into Hades. I'm just saying that wouldn't be shocking because we watched it happen with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's market cap is way higher. Bitcoin's popularity is way higher. I mean, not nearly as many people are aware of as Ethereum as even Dogecoin, right? Because of the memery. But what I want to go over is, if this was to mimic, and the fact that it's pushing us into the dates of June 3rd and June 4th, we actually have a very rare planetary alignment called the Parade of Planets, or a planetary parade. And it'll be where 6 planets, Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, will be visible in the night sky together. So they'll be visible together in the sky, such as this. This is the example of what it would look like from the northern hemisphere. Of course, it's just showing you an idea, okay, a visual. And although the date of June 3rd is allegedly the date where this can be seen, or at least well seen for most locations around the world, it's actually it'll actually be visible earlier in some countries. So I believe Brazil, it'll be early, about tomorrow. There you go. We have Australia the following day, Mexico on the following day on May 29th, and then New York on June 3rd. And that's crucial for the markets, of course, because that's where the bull is. That's where the New York Stock Exchange is. So keep this in mind, June 3rd. And also, we have tomorrow being 49 days after the total solar eclipse that we had. So we're going to be tapping this into the 27th tomorrow, when the traditional markets will open, when the New York Stock Exchange will open. And we have 49 days after the total solar eclipse, the Great American Eclipse. But in my last decode I shared, I put emphasis on May 28th. And I'll go through some of these connections, and I have even more connections to share with you guys. I think you're really going to appreciate this. So it will be 49 days since the 4-9 date. It also has 77 double-digit date numerology, and it will be 77 days since Bitcoin's highest daily close. So Bitcoin's highest daily close was on March 13th. 77 days after that is a 77 date numerology. And 77 is a crucial part of this connection, because 7 times 7 is 49. And again, this is 49 days since the 4-9 date in the Gregorian system, April 9th. So this could definitely be a connection, especially since it's also the 149th day of the year. This is just kind of like a side note. It's the number 49 with the 1 in front of it, giving it emphasis. And we also have a 23 standard date numerology on this particular date. This ties to Bitcoin, ties to Mercury in Gematria. We have Mercury, the god of fiat money, merchandise, and commerce, and even Uranus with this 23, and this is the Sky Father. So really powerful stuff. And some of you might be aware that it's been exposed that there's a connection between high-level leadership, and billionaires tied to this number 28. If you haven't already looked into this, it is pretty fascinating. Like, I think Carlos Slim was born on the 28th. Bill Gates was born on the 28th. Steve Jobs had a 28 date numerology. I think even Vitalik Buterin, which I cover him because I do decode Vitalik during my Ethereum decode. So yeah, this 28 is tied to finance, meaning that the 28th of this month, part of that, this whole decode could be very influential regarding finances. Also, I found a couple other gems for this May 28th date, and it's connecting to Rosh Hashanah, the Hebrew New Year. So with Rosh Hashanah, the Hebrew New Year, it'll be on October 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I believe. But this is the day of the next solar eclipse. That's very powerful. And we have 127 days apart. And if you look at May 28th, you could see that this is 217 days left in the year. So these two numbers are an anagram of each other. And remember the last time I had this many connections and even shared this anagram concept to this current war, specifically with the Iran drone strike on April 13th, and to anticipate something tied to May 19th because of that anagram concept. And we see how that went down. The Iranian president died in a helicopter crash, so another air ritual. So even I'm starting to keep an eye out more for these triple-digit anagram number connections. It could provide another simple yet effective tool for our decoding system. Also, 127 days is 4 months and 4 days. So this is the power number 44, the number representing 2 doors, 2 windows, or 2 options. So this means a decision needs to be made. Go this way or go that way. And lastly, you'll probably remember in my last couple of videos how many 322 connections I brought up regarding Vitalik Buterin's birthday, 3 months and 22 days till the eve of the Bitcoin ETF approval. Anyways, watch my last video. You'll get all the details. But the big connection was 3,220 days between the Ethereum network going live and the ETH ETF being approved. 3220, you remove the 0 in the rules of numerology, you have 322. So what I think is absolutely wild about all of this is, just one moment, I have a connection that I thought of very last minute, and it was this September 18th date because it will be the next lunar eclipse. All right, so it's the next lunar eclipse on September 18th. We're tying it to this very important event. And we see that they are 3 months and 22 days apart. So another 322 skull and bones connection. Also, sorry, I shouldn't have said lastly, because I want to connect May 28th one more time to the date that Israel declared war on October 7, 2023. And you're going to see these are 33 weeks and 3 days apart. That's the 333 ascended master number. So I have a feeling this Tuesday, Martes, Day of Mars, May 28th, is going to be spicy. And then, as per last week's Year of the Dragon analysis on that recap, we had this idea of trading into the first week of June looking precarious. But so far, the S&P seems to be holding up, even though the Dow Jones did take a hit last week. So let's quickly check in on the S&P 500. I'm going to start with the weekly chart. All right, on the weekly, we did get a doji, so an indecision candle, but we do have higher highs in price, and we do have lower highs on RSI. So potential bearish divergence forming, and this is on a larger time frame, so this is crucial. Let's look at the daily chart. All right, so we did get a big push to the downside on Thursday. This closing us below the 8 simple moving average, and the last time we got above the 8 simple, we started a rally. It's typical when you see a closure below the 8, we start to chop a little bit, but this is a crazy amount of volatility that we had on this one particular candle, considering it was a high and almost a full candle body red close. Big move. I think this smacked down the Dow Jones pretty hard too. So something energetically was going on the 23rd, and I wonder what it was. The full moon. So we have let me see real quick. Yeah, this was a rebound. Okay, so the rebound into a Friday, right into that weekly close. This upcoming weekly close for the traditional markets is going to be very big, guys, because it aligns with the monthly close. So this will be a big macro candle close. We got to look out for the stock market this week. I think this upcoming week will be very, very telling of how the first couple weeks of June are going to go. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on the stock market, and I will give you guys a midweek update if needed. But of course, I'm putting my priority is this release of the Crypto Decoding Blueprint. But if needed, I'll come out with a short update. Just want to see how Monday goes, and definitely Tuesday. Let's go to the Bitcoin chart, get into our analysis for the day. All right, we got a wolf cross on the daily with the 8 above the 55, so that's looking bullish for now, but we did get pushed down 3 big red candle closes post ETF. Wow, this is just money moving from Bitcoin into fucking Ethereum. That's all this is. This is silly. This is just liquidity moving around and balancing. There was no fresh money that came from retail. This is leverage trading if it came from retail. And basically, as Bitcoin sold off, that same money, I'm sure it was institutional too. Behind the scenes. Crazy. Anyways, the truth is in the charts. So we did have this close below the 8, but a nice bounce since yesterday and today is not to be trusted because it's a weekend. We need to see how these traditional markets open, but we do have a very important cross here, which is a wolf cross, the 8 above the 55. And now that we have the 8, 13, 21, 34 above the 55, this is in a bullish posture. So it's like you can't say anything bad about this setup on the daily, but I guess it's important now to check in on the macro candle closes, and then we'll kind of work our way backward. So we're going to go to the weekly because we obviously have a weekly close coming up, and I think this is key. The fact that we wicked up to our highest weekly close so far on March 25th and haven't closed a higher weekly close yet, so we're just still in the range. And this is really turning out to be like a cup and handle formation. You would see it a lot better if we were to look on a smaller time frame. But yeah, I'm kind of feeling this is going to turn out to be a cup and handle. It's clear now. It's much more clear. And if we do get a pullback, it'll just be the handle. 1 second. Just make sure that everything... Okay, good. All right. So we did get that test on the 21 EMA perfectly, leading into our weekly close couple weeks back. We've bounced since, immediately got back above the 13, and now we've gotten back above the 8. So this was just our mid-cycle correction, and we have to see how Bitcoin responds to this continuation of closes below prior highs, even after the ETH approval. Is it going to get boring again for the next couple weeks now that we've moved through the ETH approval and there hasn't been a launch of the Ethereum ETFs? I hope you see where I'm coming from for those analysts that are out there that are a little bit more seasoned in this game. Because as you see with the Bitcoin charts selling off for those days leading into the ETH ETF approval, it's like, it's clear that it was just a rotation. Clear. And the volume wasn't even that crazy. Like, you could analyze the ETH chart and you could see that the daily volume was no different than prior high volume signatures. Like, if I just put my cursor there, you could look from the left to right across the volume signature and you could see we've peaked up into that level many, many times. This is not unusually high volume. So yeah, I feel like it was just it was a big rotation out of a bunch of nonsense projects, and it went into ETH heavy. And now that we're here, we're kind of in this potential micro distributional top, and we'll have to see how this goes. But we'll get into the ETH TA in depth in a moment. All right, one thing to mention here is our 200s are really raging to the upside. So that's actually a good thing for a bull run when your 200s are now surpassing your previous trading range, and that was what's covered over here in this level, which is only a couple days, by the way. I mean, we're talking about 2 weeks, but it is technically still a horizontal trading range that broke out, and what led to our breakout. We haven't backtested it since. We don't need to backtest it, but it was always a big downside level. If we are going to get extreme push to the downside, that would be the most obvious level for us to come back to. Thus far, we haven't. And we have a couple bullish patterns playing out, which I think I covered last week. We have first and foremost a potential inverse head and shoulders, and then we also have a bull flag. I don't think I've drawn out the bull flag yet. Let me see if I have any clean charts that I could do that with. It's just hard because there you go. That's good enough. Let me turn off all this nonsense. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Appreciate y'all. You can put it like this too if you want more data. Doesn't really matter. You don't have to be so clean, but we are breaking out of this shit. This is very bullish. And if you wanted to put your staff here, you could do it. Half staff. If you want to put it at the breakout, the extreme lows, it gives you a target of 6 figures. Big move. Man, it's going to be so interesting if and when Bitcoin hits 6 figures, because there's so much like stuff I get sent my way of people that are like, Waters, this one guy says it's not, this other guy says it's definitely not, this other guy says that he bet his children's life that there won't be a $100,000, and I'm like, who cares? This is the wrong thing to give energy to. All right. What Waters Above is about is you becoming self-reliant. Okay? Remember that? It's about you becoming self-reliant. I'm just the espresso in the morning. I'm trying to get you to learn the skills here so that you don't need to worry about what some guy on YouTube is telling you about regarding this like emotional, belief tied to candlestick movements. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm being disrespectful here. I just think it's like it's not as important to get so caught up in this, because we're in an economy that's just printing itself into hell. All right, that's it. So to deny the possibility of a 6-figure Bitcoin when it's only like what? Like, how much more room do we got? A 30% move? Bitcoin does 30% moves in its sleep. Wow, we can't get 35% higher, guys. We can't. Come on, dude. It's just not even. But on the other hand, and it comes back to the conversation I had with Sama, which I hope to reconnect with him soon, because that was great to be able to chat with him. But it's like, at the same time, a $500,000 Bitcoin is also not like something to be jumping and clicking your heels over, because that means a gallon of gas will be 5 times more than it is today, or a liter of petrol, however you look at it. So like in the States, what are we looking at? Like a swing of $4 to $7 between, going from like a place like LA to like a more like rural town. You got a swing of four, like let's just say five is your average. Okay, you'll be paying $30 for a gallon of gas. Sick. Like I want people to just realize that the system is collapsing fast. And that is what's making gold look interesting. That's why I got into gold back when it was sub 2000. It was why and I remember that time, and I just want to revisit it because people were like, Waters, you always talked against gold. And I was like, you got to realize when I was saying that. Let's go back to the past. Let's take a trip down memory lane. I was saying in 2021 when I created my channel that everyone who says that cash is trash is dangerous. I was telling you they clearly don't know what the Shemitah is, because during a Shemitah year, cash is fucking king. How did that whole year turn out against everyone that was promoting buy gold and, the dollar's going to collapse and this, that, and the third? And I was telling them no. Other dollars will collapse, but the US dollar will remain the cleanest dirty laundry. It's the same words I use. I don't even know how many 3T Warrior interviews I've done, with them talking about this same idea throughout that time where it was not sexy for me to share this perspective. And where, the talk of the Shemitah was barely being shared with the world. So I'm not trying to say that I'm a pioneer in that way. I'm not taking any credit. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just letting you know that it's okay to adjust your investment thesis year by year, depending on your awareness and knowledge of the environment of the economy that we're in. It's like, you don't need to buy winter coats. It's maybe not best to buy winter coats in the winter when you could buy them when they're on sale in the summer. It's going to get cold out in the winter, right? It's called preparation. But when it's wintertime and all the coats are sold out and you're mad at the guy who is see, it's like, it's funny to me, but like my bigger point here was during 2021, I knew we were actually 2020. I knew we were approaching a Shemitah. I was sharing the truth about the Shemitah before it hit September of 2021. I was saying cash is king during a Shemitah. It's undeniable. I have the facts and the charts that prove it going back 100 years. And you will see other currencies fail though. And it will just go to the cleanest dirty laundry. It will go into the dollar. Now, then it got to a point where we were out of all of that and we were ending Jubilee. And I said, okay, now is the time to buy gold. That's it. You just shift. It's like you don't go all in on Bitcoin when it's at an all-time high, right? You have to adjust accordingly. So I'm not a gold bear. I'm not against it. I see its purpose in the situation. All right. But going all in on gold, I don't think is maybe the smartest move, because then you're missing out on the ROI opportunity that you can get in something like crypto, you see? So it's just about having an investment thesis. And I'll wrap up that stream of consciousness there. But I hope you guys, value these words of wisdom, because a lot of people in the sphere don't want to look at the big picture. They just take bits and pieces of things and then they take it out of context. So we do have that bull flag. We do have this inverse head and shoulders. We do have a cup and handle. These are like bullish things over and over and over again. And then we have this EMA band set up, bullish, weekly bullish. Everything is bullish about this. So if this is the end of our mid-cycle correction, I hope you were taking the last couple podcasts seriously and looking at these altcoins, because they're all down right now, like all of them. Look at the daily chart on VeChain. It has not popped up back to this prior microcycle top like ETH did. Okay, Theta still has room to just pop up to the prior highs. Doge, it's done pretty well, but you see Cardano saying, and like, of course, these may not be the greatest examples of particular coins, but I'm showing you coins that are in the top of the conversation. All right, that we can't deny. So just be kind of open right now that there are still so many opportunities. There was no point of waiting specifically for a larger correction, especially if you're not exposed to these markets. And I don't know how many times I've said this by now, but people probably do want to know, well, Waters, what to anticipate in this upcoming volatile week. But we got to look at the levels. And if we're going to maintain this micro uptrend as we are, we're still looking good until we were to close below 60. I mean, because even right here, this would be the start of weakness. I would say 65. And that was what I shared in my last YouTube video. I'm going to stick with that. If we were to start closing below this 55 simple moving average, that would look a little weird. I would anticipate weakness to a correction to 60, but then I would still be bullish across the board. Now, if we were to close below 58 now, moving forward, I think that would be way too many days in this horizontal corrective phase, and that would be a little worrisome. So if we are to get anything deeper than that, I think it's going to be a similar situation, like a flash crash buy up, or we're in some black swan shit. Okay. But for now, we're looking very bullish across the board. That's good news for everyone, by the way. Like, you just heard the best news ever. Like, we're in the final moments of moving into the next phase of a bull run. But this whole move up with ETH leading the charge because of a narrative and because of the ETF approvals, that's a little weird. I don't know, Vito's waking up today. All right, let's get into quick ETH analysis. I don't have to share too much more because, excuse me, it's already been covered. I should take a drink of water real quick so I don't destroy my voice. 1 second. All right. So yeah, the ETH play, if we were to repeat what I was sharing with Bitcoin post ETF approval, it was similar to this fractal over here. I think ETH even lost a little less. Yeah, it was okay. So exactly 20%. And you see, we did get below the 55 simple moving average. So if you look at where the 55 simple is right now for ETH, it's about 3,200. And I showed you 3,100 is right here. So it would almost look identical. That'd be crazy if that repeated. I mean, I don't know if it will. Nobody knows. But it depends on this energy that kicks in, because when we have a big candle like that, a 20% green candle with nothing in between, that could be like a Twin Towers situation where you just come back and swipe through all of that liquidity. And yeah. One thing that's interesting though is we never back tested the 200s. The same thing with Bitcoin. So all of our corrections have been bought back very quickly. It's very bull run vibes. You know, it's pretty undeniable at this point. That's why it's so weird for me to hear that people don't see a $100,000 Bitcoin, because I'm like, look at the way that Bitcoin has been bought back after every correction. It's like it has no time. It has no time. Like, look, this is May 1st. Boom, we were back up in 2 days. Like, now we're back up near fucking the all-time highs. So it's like, it's just a bull run, man. Like, these assets do crazy things that are unimaginable, unimaginable. But yeah, as for continuation though, we're damn close. So if we start breaking above 4,100 and effectively a monthly close at that level, damn. If we close above 4,000 on this monthly, I can't figure out a way to be bearish or expect deeper corrections. So the ETH situation is definitely making this precarious right now. XRP. So I can't be sharing too much on this. We're in the same sort of story here where we have just been chopping on the downside. The one thing I could say though is we've been such low volatility that all of our moving averages have reset. So we have the 8, 13, 24, 32, all, they're 2130. Sorry. 2134. My mind is moving at a million miles per hour. So we have all of our key EMAs and moving averages coiled up effectively. And when we see this 8 cross above the 55, that's called a wolf cross. And what we really need is for this 8 to get back above the 200s. If the 200s are at the top, this is not good. But what it is good for is buying opportunities. So, XRP is another good example of like, I believe I have like somewhere around this 15 to 20% of my portfolio. I would be aiming for that, to have like a solid portfolio in preparation for the next alt season. So yeah, the key update is more of a reminder, all right? Because I had some people checking in with me like, Waters, you haven't been sharing. Well, it's because I can't update you on something that hasn't done anything. What do you want? It's like giving you the weather in a place that's like San Diego. It's like it's sunny every day. What do you want to hear? In this case, it's raining every day. This is like living in Amsterdam during the winter time. Like, you're experiencing a winter. No offense, Dutch people are amazing. I love the Dutch wolf pack. Shout out to Mr. Jansen. Shout out to all of y'all. But I think that was a good example though. Like it's like, what weather do you need? What weather do you need updated on? And I'm not trying to be negative about this. It's just that is what it is. There has been no progress, and it's one of the top projects that I speak on. And if I'm going to continue to speak on it, I can't just lie to you and come up with some fabricated, thing about it to sell you on an exciting piece of information. That's called being a cult leader. Like, I have to give you the truth here, guys. I'm trying to make you all self-reliant, and I can't update you on something that has no update to be given. So it seems as if this SEC case shit is just going to keep getting pushed on. I mean, if that's the way it's going to go, that wouldn't be weird for the U.S., legal system. This is the way it works. But the one thing to be said about all of this is I think once all is said and done, those who skipped out on buying it are probably going to FOMO in much higher than where it is now. So even though it's boring right now and even though it's low, don't sleep on these opportunities, because too many people will, and then they'll be the same people FOMOing in later. Don't let that be you. All right. But don't get crazy with this in your portfolio and make it 80% of your portfolio. That's never been the right way to do it. All right. You have to be diversified conservatively, but also if you're going to put large amounts into this, you can't be somebody who gets mad or upset that it's not catching up to some other altcoin. All right. And I'm seeing a lot of that, not necessarily in our community, but I'm seeing a lot of that lately. Like, these XRP maxi people are now so mad and so frustrated that they're taking it out on the analysts and they're taking it out on everyone else except for their poor investment thesis. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. Like, you're better than this. Like, there's a chance here to learn and to optimize your portfolio, and don't get stuck in this one coiner tornado. It's toxic, and that's not what we're about here. We're doing something honorably, and it can't be so cultish. And I feel like that's what a lot of this last year has been in the XRP world, and hopefully, my connection with Bearable Bull and him inviting me onto his channel has been able to spread a different perspective on it all. But anyways, getting back to this, not too much of an update on XRP. We still have the same levels. We're trapped in this lower range now. Any daily closes below 47 cents would be probably filling out this wick here. I have very low probabilities of that. But the buyback here would be somewhere into the 61 cent range. I think that would be more fair value at this point. And then we have obviously around the low 70s would be your breakout area. So until we can get above 73 cents on a macro candle close, we're just ranging. Interesting how it's very similar in alignment to Bitcoin's all-time high, but just with the sense of so for instance, we have 74 cents on XRP, and we had 74,000 on Bitcoin. That seems incredibly synchronistic. So yeah, just to keep that in mind. I think if we were to break above that 72 cent area, that would be moving us into something called an SOS, a sign of strength, and then you would head back up to this $1-2 level pretty fast. All right, let's go on to Rocky. I've never heard of this one. Shout out to our fellow Wolf Angel, who's been requesting this one for some time, and it's just now got enough votes for us to cover this week. So let's dive into this chart. But just a reminder to everyone, not all the time I'm picking the coin that gets the most votes because it's been something that I've covered too recently. So just a reminder, I have my What I'm Investing in special where I cover about 20 coins every 2.5 months. I will not cover the coins that are covered in that list in between those timeframes. This way we make room for us to cover other things. Now, also, if I have covered a coin recent, I'll give a quick example. I just covered PHEX, Pulse Chain Hex, and people were commenting in this podcast to cover Pulse Chain Hex. And I'm like, what's going on, guys? You're just running to the comment section and don't do that. This isn't that exciting. Is it? If it is, that's awesome. But it's a little joke, but for real, I'm covering the podcast, and I'm covering it in the podcast, and sometimes we cover a coin last week and people type it again as in the comment section. It's Come on, man. Use the search bar. If you don't know how, ask the question. But if you search, and even inside of Patreon, under my membership, and you type out the name of the project, it will tell you the last time I typed it out, which would be in a Red Pill podcast. Also, you can do the same thing in our Discord. Use that feature. But if I'm getting, 10 votes on a coin that was already covered 2 weeks ago, I'm not going to cover it. I'm just going to save the time, But anywho, getting to Rocky, first things first, what a chart. This is crazy looking. I don't think I've ever seen some shit that looks like this. This looks like I want to invert this chart. It looks like a ghost. This is crazy. Look at this correction. This thing dumped 99%, but like imagine every day just sitting through this fucking roller coaster to hell. And now you've entered the Tower of Terror. But yeah, nice buyback. I'm sure this is a couple 1,000%. Yeah. Okay, so this is what coins like this do. They have crazy moves to the upside. This is like the least safe stuff to get involved in, but I believe Angel said that this was a NFT music thing, which is really cool. Sounds actually like a cool thing if it's legitimate and there's legitimate people behind it. But mention this red symbolism as well. That's great with the Year of the Dragon idea and moving into the Year of the Snake. But yeah, we got about a 3,500% move. So this is probably pretty toasted, but I'm going to go ahead and pull a fib off of this level right here. And the reason why is because we've already swiped through that level one time in the past, and we also came up to it over here. And then as well, we've got a big rejection off of it. So I like this level. Then I'm going to go double tap. I'm going to turn on fib levels based on log scale. And you could see that we've had a nice correction back into the 618. So just from here up to this current high is a 10 at almost 900% move. I don't know if this thing could enter price discovery, but it's done it. Like it's tried to for a couple days, and then this led to a noticeable shakeout. Fuck. Wow, a 90% correction just off of that move. Like you wouldn't think it, right? Like, but these are shit coins, so this is the kind of stuff they do. No offense, just it is what it is. Anything that loses 99% of its value, like it's just pure speculation. There was nobody really in this for the long game. They were just all taking an L on the way down. Because look, under here, that was the lowest you went on the first push up. Anything under here, you were fucked. So everyone's just selling. This is crazy to watch charts like this. But the formation is so peculiar. Hopefully this fib pull idea helps though. The reason I didn't pull it from here and I decided to pull it from here is because we have confluence and big pivot points along the way. Clearly smart because we've pushed down into the bottom of the golden pocket. Nice buyback. And then right now I would worry if this turns into a head and shoulders, but it's too awkward to be using patterns on a project like this to do pattern trading. There's no way. I mean, it would be a really weird bull flag if it was to play out, but this invalidates a lot of that. Like, look at this, guys. Look, one day it made 105%, and then the next day it lost 60%. But it was a lower close. It's a Twin Towers candle. This shit can't be trusted. Like, these projects are insane. But hey, if you treat it as venture capital, which is where I'll wrap this idea up, just treat it as venture capital if you believe in the technology and you find it to have utility in something you're passionate about or interested in. But don't be surprised if it has these crazy moves, such as a 90% correction in the middle of yeah, anyways. Back up at the 888, and that seems to be a clear resistance level. So we got a chunk of resistance here. Once we broke below it here, we dumped further, and now we've gravitated back up to it. So I think what would be best for this project, to be honest, is to just build more horizontal range. Fill out this golden pocket more, become a little bit more sophisticated, trading into the 1 to 3 to 4 cent range, and then you could leave this sub 1 cent bullshit behind into the future. That would be very positive for this. As for price discovery, it's infinite. These things, this is a baby. It's a baby in the grand scheme of things. So I would say $1 psychological level would be fucking crazy if this was to make it up that high. You can't bank on that, guys. It's too speculative. Okay, we're looking at one second. I didn't have it pulled up, my bad. A cash. TradingView changed its look again. Everybody's changing everything. Even Patreon was changing up some stuff. Whoa, okay. When was the last time I covered this shit? This thing bought back to its highs. Wow. So we had this range mapped out in the past. My God, yeah. So a full almost 3,000% move. This is now moving into its next phase, which is price discovery. It's effectively made it. And you see this channel that it's on? I'm going to go ahead and... Very awkward. Very, very awkward. But... got all our tops pretty nicely marked out. I'll leave this parallel channel for now. I'll put it in the background. Okay. Put this behind it too. It's the heart line of this that's been very interactive. And if we were to drop out of this parallel channel, it would be normal to come back and fill out this golden pocket. Let's make sure this is okay. So this is correctly set up. What a buyback. Unbelievable. So off of this big, I bet it lost everything. Lost 99% of its value. Yeah. Okay. So about 97%. Big buyback to this level. It'd be interesting because the symbolism looks a little fiery, looks a little dragony. I'm not sure though. Cool. What a buyback. Crazy. Made it all the way up to $6. Yeah, the fib levels are important on this stuff, guys, because what do I teach? I teach that once we get above the 382 is when we move into the kind of the next, the initial phase. But this thing, after it got above the 382, it never left. It just kept going. So it's under the 382 that you buy. And then once we're over, you kind of just say, right? But it was when it was under. That was a prime time. Couple 1,000%. Once you start breaking above the 382, like on this big correction, still amazing when you have a project with such short history. Wow. So I really don't have much to say. The only thing I would say now is look out for price targets above. So I'm going to go ahead, double click this. I'm going to go back to linear and I'm going to be putting it on this 4236, somewhere around $25. If this thing could complete that, that'd be rage. Be crazy. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put it at the 4236. I'm just going to keep it nice, short and sweet. $25. $25 PayPal. And it's effectively at the top. Look at that. That aligns pretty nicely too, because if you maintained in this parallel channel, you'd get there somewhere around November. I mean, if this wants to just keep doing what it's doing, why not? It could even have a huge correction too. Like one thing that happens, guys, is like you get up to the 1618. And then some shit like that could happen. Okay, so look, 1618 is right here. Let me reset this for you all. Boom, because that's where it would go first. And then inverse head and shoulders out, pop up to its final. Hope this helps. Clean analysis, clean parallel channel too. I know it's dropping out on the bottom a lot, but that was always just opportunities. You double click this and then let's see what's up. Probably the 1618. I don't think that's possible. I have a hard time believing that. But if we have a crazy cycle, then yes. But I would be keeping the $25 in mind. And I'm sure there's some gematria. What's the AK? In the 43, it's the 14. 47 is the 15th prime. 1, 4, 5. AKT. Got the 5 again. Got the 5. It's 32. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5. 1 plus 4 is 5. Sorry. We got the 144, the 72. So this aligns with Bitcoin too, with the 72 and the 144, like kind of like Dogecoin. This is similar, actually. Look, got the 72, 144. So look, Doge 72, 144 in the same ciphers, and this 19 tie with Raw. These fives are big though. These keep coming up for me, so I'm gonna stick with that. Yeah, got that 52 reverse is 25, mirror of 52, 25. Okay, yeah, 16, 7. Got the 5 again. KT 5 again, 5 again, and then 47 is 15 prime. But the 43 is 14 prime, 1 plus 4 is 5 again. So yeah, there's a lot of this 5 kind of code. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, the fact that this all-time high is around this 5 level doesn't shock me. And even if it was to go to 7, we've got some 7s in there. The 1618, I think it was at like 19. But this 25 is a really technical target. I don't really have the time right now to do like a full-blown decode on it, but interesting chart. Not like the greatest chart history, but still pretty cool. Looking at Spell. Okay, opposite of that chart. So Spell has drained out everything. It's dying of blood loss. This is tough because you can't really do anything. Okay, so we've gotten to the 382, gotten rejected. We're still in like buy zone with this, but I don't know if I would speculate too much. This is absolutely venture capital because coming back up to prior all-time highs is like a 2,000% move. We saw that in the last chart, like by losing all your value and then popping up. I mean, you retest all-time highs and you're already up 2,000 to 3,000%. So venture capital is nice, but you don't want to bank on that because it's not like every coin is guaranteed to do that. Some projects only make it up to the 786 to 888, and you need to know how to de-risk there, because if you don't, thinking it'll go back up to here and then it rolls over, then you start, so it's like you need to have a strategy on this venture capital stuff, on the stuff that has these sorts of charts. But if we look at when we broke to this area to today, is sitting at 750 days. So this is very much like not riding the wave of what Bitcoin's been up to lately. It's kind of doing its own thing. Very, very speculative. You got to be careful with this stuff. But 3,000% move to prior all-time highs is pretty awesome if you could catch that. So as I said earlier, anything below the 382 is a buy. If you're below the 236, definitely an opportunity, but you don't want to have a large percentage of this in your portfolio. Now, naturally, this is kind of in a zone where it probably won't go too much lower, because I would assume volume's also declining as well. But if I had to draw a trend line and give you an idea of where it could go, it's sensible that it could tap down to here somewhere. But yeah, you would need another leg down for ETH and Bitcoin, bigger leg down. So this is essentially in a buy zone. And next big target would be any macro closures above the 382. You'd be heading into the golden pocket pretty quickly. Let's go to optimism. All right. Okay. I must have covered this in the past. Damn. Oh, no. What the fuck? What just happened? OP. We're covering a lot of red projects today. All right. So yeah, this has been magically respecting this trend line that I drew whenever the hell I drew it. I don't even remember the last time I covered this thing, but here we are. It's been pretty solid. I'm going to delete this though, because I want to keep my fibs the way that they are. And anyone who knows TradingView knows that TradingView is fucking annoying. Wow. Look at that, dude. Holy shite. Literally kissed the 1618. That's gorgeous. Now you guys know why I really love to use with this fib levels based on log scale on longer time frames. I really enjoy it for that reason, because look at that. Like, I mean, all of this buying opportunity here off this October solar eclipse got about 300% move up. That was a de-risking target for sure. and in alignment with this trend line that I had. Let me clean up this trend line. Because the next leg could be somewhere fun. And then this does look like it's in a huge parallel trading range. I don't know if I want to do it that way. But that's a lot of the data that I scooped up in there. Okay, so it's not the cleanest thing, but it's an altcoin, and altcoins aren't clean. But I got a lot of data when you look at it with area chart instead of candles. But the candles, you can see that this does scoop through a majority of the data. So I like that. That's good enough for me. Okay, so now we're interacting with this heart line after this deeper correction. And what I suppose is coming down to this would probably be healthy. Retesting the 786 or the top of the golden pocket one more time. And then you would head on to the next leg of the bull run, which you're talking, yeah, about 7. I think 7 would make a lot of sense in that next target. But if we push and we want to keep respecting this outside trend line, then you have a swing between 7 to 14. Now, I would not buy this right now because it's already in price discovery. But it's cool, like great if you're a part of it. Like this is really a time to have a solid exit strategy built. But I would not personally be touching this thing. Not much of an opportunity here in my opinion. Even off of this October pivot, this thing's only gone up about 300%, which I'm not saying is not good. It's great. Absolutely. Making money is great. But yeah, there's a lot of projects that I'm looking at that it would be 1,000% just to get back to all-time highs. And you're kind of just buying this thing as it's a brand new baby chart and it's a little bit later in the development. Not as much, but fun move to see how it's so cleanly behaved on these trend lines here. And if it could get this move somewhere in Q4 up to Q1 up to $15, that would be great. That'd be really that would really be a great play. 500%. So not as lucrative as some of the other stuff that I've been getting involved in, and then plus it's already well past into new high territory price discovery vibes. So more of an exit strategy development situation than an accumulation situation. Let's go to Casper. Some quick. Oh God, this really took a. Yeah, okay. All right. Now I remember. Wow, look at it. It got the fucking back of the trend line. Holy shite. That's nuts. Wow, that's glorious. That's glorious, because if you watched my last red pill when I covered this, you'd be like, holy shit, I can't believe it. Look at that. Zoom in. Fuck. Nuts. I had this trend line going for a hot minute, and okay, I remember this intersection here. I released a podcast. I said some choice words on this, and I got a lot of shit for it because I don't know why. I get you know, it's called the Red Pill Podcast. Some people don't want to take the red pill, so anyways, I got some people that weren't so happy about my take on it, and this thing is now lower than where it was during the solar eclipse in October. That's fucked. This is not the safest gamble, all right? Just be very careful with this kind of stuff, guys. And I know it has breakouts. I know it likes to do this, but it's been chopping in the same range now for 750 days. And it's started to break lower than the solar eclipse. Like Bitcoin during the solar eclipse, by the way, just to check in on it. This is where Bitcoin was during the last solar eclipse. Let me hide everything. It was down here. We've gone up 160% in the highest market cap coin. That would be like if Bitcoin today was trading at 23K. Would be like what's going on with Casper right now. There's been no progress, ever. It's in price discovery to the downside. All right, this is venture capital. You got to be very, very careful with this stuff, man. I know everyone has like their list of fucking connections that these projects have with something, and it's like 99% comes from the XRP army people, and like you're not going to get that from me, man. And just looking at the chart, I could tell there's some issues here. And yes, we get pumps along the way, but a lot of the time, if it ends up in fake outs, the same people that were getting frustrated with you are gone, and they're disappointed, and they didn't learn anything along the way because they didn't want to look for themselves what was the problem during the problem. They waited till the problem started to become fucking the flood, and now they're complaining that their house is, covered in water. It's horrible. Anyways, let's get to the analysis and then wrap up today's episode. So I'm seeing a firmament dome forming. I'm going to play around with this for 1 second. It's about as clean and as quick as I can make it. So I'm seeing a firmament, all these touch points, rejection, higher high, lower high, rejection, boom, big move, exactly the same way, probably at the exact point of this firmament dome on the other side. Now, the next stage of this is, does this hold this support? So this is about as low as Casper should be going, all right? And it had all of this interaction with this red support line back here, and thus far it is technically making new highs. Let me show you. So we have 1, 2, 3. Technically, we're making higher lows. Excuse me. I might have misspoke there for a second. Higher lows. So we're just building in this firmament structure. I'm going to go ahead and delete this now. We know this white trend line is still the boss. So I'm going to leave that. And what this tells me is the same analysis I shared with you guys last time. What did Waters say? He said you need to clear the 382. I don't give a shit if you come up to the 382. You have to clear it, okay? That's how TA works. So we got rejected at that level. And now we've even went lower. So yeah, this is, for me, even though I'm sharing my take on it all, I'm being a real one, and I'm letting you know this is in a firmament dome, and when we get these, they have explosive breakouts. So this shouldn't be in this shit situation much longer. Here is like your big horizontal trading range that I've been taking into consideration for Casper, from the swing high to the swing low. As long as we're below the 382, as I said, it's a buy. If we're below the 236, it's definitely a buy. If we're back at macro support, it's definitely a buy. This should be as low as it gets now that we're approaching 800 days of trading in this horizontal trading range. And now with 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 spread out big corrections off of this 382 level, that gives me confidence that if we get above that level, we should be back at this 20 to 24 cent peak pretty fast. So from where we are now up to that level is a nice move. So I am not telling you not to invest in this thing. I'm not like, it's just, I remember so many times when we do some of these podcasts talking about some of these technical plays, and then it's like it's not going against the narratives that people were told, and then they disregard the analysis, they talk a bunch of mess, they get aggravated and emotional, and I'm just like, come on, you have to be a wolf here about this. Like, we need to grow up if you want to become sophisticated investors. You can't take this personally. You didn't invent Casper. You're not on the dev team. You probably don't have any idea of even how the blockchain works. All right. I don't, by the way. I'm not like I've said this so many times. We don't even need to know how these things work in order to utilize them. Like, you own a car, right? You probably do not know how to take apart a transmission and rebuild it, do you? But you drive all the time. You get on airplanes all the time. You probably do not know how right? You have a very basic understanding of aerodynamics. You have just enough faith in it to get on it without even knowing how it's built. So that's my whole point here, is that when we get too narrative driven, and like the white paper and the dev team and all this stuff like glosses over the fact that we're still in an unregulated asset class that has so much nonsense in it, which, by the way, I'm not calling Casper nonsense, but I'm just kind of wrapping up today's podcast, revisiting where we started, where I was talking about the shitcoin mania with MAGA hat. Like, this is it, man. We're still there. And when you get emotional because somebody's sharing their take on the TA, that's really rough, because at least this is real data and it's proof for itself how it's operating. But the positive of all of this is these type of dome structures, especially at the bottom, do tend to have nice breakouts once we could surpass it. And if I had to draw it out and, be creative for a second to just give you an idea of how this can go, could very much be one of these things. So you back test the outside of the dome, which could be in alignment with this 236. And then once you get close to that 382, you push through it pretty fast, and it would make sense for that to happen in Q4. So this could actually still chop in this range for some time. That's just how altcoins are sometimes. Like, they take a while to enter this alt season energy because it's about a rotation from one form of alts to another form, to another, to another, to another. All right. I'm going to wrap up today's podcast. I appreciate and love every single one of you. Hope you got a nice, solid amount of value out of everything we covered today. And again, I will have this new Crypto Decoding Blueprint out very, very soon. I'm excited to share it. Everyone who has my Decoding Mastermind course, this will be added automatically. I will be sending out an update to you to let you know. As for now, this is all the pricing, all the information, all the names of all the course lessons that'll be covered. And you'll be getting more updates from me after the filming has been done and I've added it to my website. Appreciate all of your support. Oh, and if you needed the link or discount code information to this, it will be in this Patreon post or in the description box of the video. Appreciate and I'm grateful for every single one of you. Much love.